All right, let's take a look at Benford's law. Okay, this is also called Benford-Newcomb's law. And basically, what it says in statistics, if you take a natural set of numbers or a set of numbers, a data set that you've collected from nature, the frequency with which that number set will begin with a particular number can be determined by this formula here. All right, so let me try to say that differently. If you collect a number of numbers, for instance, street addresses. If you collect the street address numbers for an entire city, state, country, or whatever, a huge data set, and you look at the numbers and look at the order of the numbers, um, this formula will tell you how how many numbers will begin, how many of those numbers will begin with a particular number. Even that sounds a little complicated. Let me see if I can explain it a little bit better here. All right. All right. All right. I'm going to write for the numbers all the way through 9, but this is the idea. If you have a set of numbers, random set of numbers that you've collected, the first number of any particular number of that whole data set, beginning with the number 1, it's going to be 30% of the time. That's even sounds complicated to me. Let me get to this. Okay, so what we're looking at here is Benford's law, and Benford's law explains why certain numbers begin with a particular number. All right. Here's an example. Um, all right. Well, I'm trying to discover the reason why I keep finding the number 109. All right, as I've written it here. I'm trying to find that reason. Why do I continue to see these numbers, 1, 0, and 9? And I found these numbers under peculiar circumstances all over the world. All right. And sometimes these numbers have held significance in that particular country. For example, in Japan, 109, like the name of the city, Tokyo, when the Japanese read the number 109, they say Tokyo, which sounds very much like Tokyo. So the number 109 holds significance, for the Japanese because of that similar sound. All right. But what about in other countries? I haven't found the same level of significance of these numbers in other countries, but I did see these numbers in other countries under very peculiar circumstances. Now, my journey to understand why led me to discover Benford's law recently. And Benford's law seeks to explain the types of numbers you will find in nature. All right. And how they do that is by saying, or if you were to collect a group of numbers, a random set of numbers, you would find that 30.1% of those numbers that you collected randomly, 30% of those numbers would begin with the number 1. 17.6% of those numbers would begin with the number 2, 12.5% the number 3, 9.7% the number 4, 7.9% 5, 6.7% the number 6, 5.8% the number 7, 5.1% the number 8, and 4.6% the number 9. 30.1% of the time, 30.1% of the numbers that you could collect would begin with the number 1. This is significant, a significant result or indicator. This is a significant indicator because it tells me that the fact that I've seen the numbers 1, 0, and 9 in that particular order, it tells me that pretty much it's nothing rare, it's nothing unique. It is actually something that is pretty common because 30% of the time, anyone can find a number beginning with the number 1, okay, in nature. In this case, the number that I'm referring to is 1, 0, and 9. So 30% of the time you can find it. Now, if you really want to think about this a little bit, if you want to follow me, down this rabbit hole, 30% is actually not a very high percentage. And so being able to find a group of numbers or a set of numbers beginning with the number 1, it's actually difficult to do. It's actually difficult to do. So even finding 109, it's not an easy task, okay? Now, let's continue down this rabbit hole because although Benford's law helps us understand that 30% of the time we will find a number beginning with the number 1, the question then becomes, what is the probability? What is the probability of finding specifically the number 1, 0, and 9? All right. And that's where this formula comes into play. All right. The probability of a digit, the probability of, in this case, the first digit, okay, probability of the first digit equals to the log of base 10. All right. 1 plus 1 over, and then that particular digit. In this case, that particular number. All right. What I'm going to do now is erase all of this. All right. And then we're going to, I'm going to write the probability after you calculate this. After you plug in 109 here for this digit, or in this case, digits, all right, and we do this calculation, I'm going to show you the percentage of the probability of 109 in nature. So the probability of finding 1, 0, and 9, okay, equals log base 10, 1 plus 1 over 109, all right, and this comes out to okay, or all right. So this is our result. According to Benford's law, finding 1, 0, and 9 in nature, the probability of finding 109 is 0.0039661871, Or if you convert that to a percentage, that is point, okay? Less than 1%. Less than 1%. That is 0.39%, all right? 0.39%. That's less than 1%. So the idea that I'm able to find 1, 0, and 9, throughout my travels, I've encountered these numbers, is even more bizarre. Especially the frequency with which I'm able to find these numbers, because as Benford's law, states, in nature, the probability of anyone finding the numbers 1, 0, and 9 in that particular order, or those digits taken together, it's going to be less than 1%, 0.39%. And yet, I've been able to find these numbers. Of course, I haven't been looking for these numbers, but these numbers, I've encountered these numbers. I've seen these numbers. Okay? That's the point here. Under peculiar circumstances. All right? The one circumstance, right now it's the month of March 2021. It is 2 years after the passing of Ermias Joseph Askedom, known to the world as Nipsey Hussle. And it was in that month that I received sort of confirmation of, what to write about. It was in that month because when Nipsey was murdered, a whole myriad of puzzle pieces seemed to fall into place, such that I was able to produce this work, my work. My book, 109, right? Which comes in, as of late, comes in 4 different colors. 109 Money, the original 109 Crimson, 109 Nipsey, and 109 Royalty. All right. And to really sum up, what this book is about, it's this book describes encounters, moments when I found these numbers randomly, completely randomly. And so the idea is that this video, the idea that we are taking away from this video is, I've collected moments when I actually found these numbers in nature. So this, in and of itself, is a very extremely unique story, because just by this law and doing this mathematical formula, we've arrived at the conclusion that everything that's contained in this book, the possibility of this book coming to fruition, was only 0.39%. So really, this book is as rare as 0.39. But because it is even a collection of moments, it's even rarer than that. All right, pick up a copy of 109.